Activation code required. Access granted. Warning. Evacuation sequence activated.
We're back. Welcome to the bunker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of S-4 Paranormal Bunker. So tonight we are talking about the most haunted locations in the world.
Yeah.
We are going to explore anything that we know personally, and some of us have been to, as well as other locations that probably none of us have been to because, well, we're all kind of chicken shits when it comes to some of this shit.
And poor.
I don't think any one of us would actually voluntarily go to Develop Pass. I
might.
I'm okay without Devout.
Would you? You're crazy, woman.
I would go to Dialogue Pass in a freaking heartbeat if I had all the right equipment.
Okay, no, you get nothing.
I would go without anything.
Like you're on Naked and Afraid and at Dialogue Pass.
Dude, that would actually be an episode I'd have to watch.
It could be a Mr. Beast challenge. Every day you spend, you get $1,000.
You hear that, Nikki? Kayla wants to see you naked.
Oh, hey.
Oh my god.
She's hitting on you.
I said that would be an episode of Naked Afraid I would watch. But so yeah, I guess.
You'd watch it just for Nikki.
Where did she get that from? Oh yeah.
So, I'm going to start us off because tonight Kayla has been watching some of those top 20 and top 50 haunted location places.
Oh, I have
things. And I actually had to explain to my daughter that I have been to one.
Ooh, which one?
So, one that was on both lists, and I think one it was number 4 and one it was at number 8, was the Banff Springs Hotel.
Oh.
In Banff, Alberta. This is a building. It's an actual castle brought over from Ireland by an Arabian. I don't know if he'd be a prince, but a very important Arabian person back in the day, and he brought it brick by brick by ship, and
Now.
over its years, it went through the Wild West, through through almost everything we've been through in the western side of the United States and Canada, and it's had a lot of history happen at it. A lot of different things. Like, you got to think this is a 600-room hotel, and that's what he built it into when he brought it here. Because he built it in a national park, therefore he wasn't allowed to live in it himself. Which was probably a mistake, but whatever.
Yeah.
So he built it into a hotel, and Banff has become one of our largest tourist destinations in Canada. From summer to winter, but due to the fact that it's surrounded by 3 of the biggest ski hills, it goes from about 50,000 people to over 500,000.
Damn.
So, and that's people from every continent coming there to not only ski, but also to work. Hundreds of young teenagers and older, like 20s kids get visas to work there during the winters. And I spent 5 years of my life there, almost. And during that time, I heard a few different stories from other people, because I worked at the Banff Springs Hotel for about 6 months. And I heard a story about a guy on horseback that would go around and swing his sword through the dining room.
Okay.
I heard about a bride, and the one that the part that bothered me about this one is I heard this from other coworkers, but a bride that came down the stairs, because there's a set of stairs that lead to nowhere. They sealed up the ceiling of them, and supposedly she comes down those stairs, her dress catches on fire, and she falls. But now they've changed the story, apparently. Apparently, you see her wandering the grounds of the castle, which is now a huge golf course. So, like,
But still burning. Still on fire.
Yeah, still on fire.
Yeah.
But, like, the story has changed a few times, and I think that's just part of the mystery of the Banff Springs Hotel when you stay there. The one I do know that I have experienced is in the top floor, there was a room that they have now bricked off because a family was murdered in the room.
Ooh.
And for years, they had closed the room, made it into a supply closet. At night, the light in the room would turn on. Even after they took the light bulb out of the room, I have seen that light on. So, there's no light bulb in that room.
Yeah, it has the
Now-
light on when there's no light bulb.
Now there's nothing in the room, and they have bricked that room off completely.
Is the light still on?
Yes, the light still comes on at night.
Damn.
Well, Tom Bodett will be happy about that. So,
Friend, it is one of the
Yeah,
coolest things I've ever seen. I love that place for that.
Well, I know what the coolest thing you have seen. Me.
You do a lot of drugs, do you?
Hey.
You don't want to talk about that?
Alright.
Friend. But yeah, that is mine. And yeah, Kayla put up a picture of it. It is a gorgeous building. It was one of my favorite places to work because, number one, I would take a cup of tea from the back kitchen, and knowing that the customer up front was drinking that same cup of tea and it cost her $20. I really liked that fact, and I got it for free. But yeah, it's a beautiful place. So that's my number one. Who wants to go next?
Oh, I have something to say. I found my previous reincarnation.
Yes!
What?
Yeah,
This has nothing to do with tonight's show, but he did.
I found it.
No names.
Yeah, there was this native guy that looks exactly like me that died 8 months before I was born with the same name and almost the same last name. And it's really weird because he dresses the same and he looks the same. It's weird.
weird.
Yeah. Just wanted to say that.
Nikki, I think, has something to say about her mouth is full.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure do. Very possible. But at the same time, here's the question for you and for anybody. Who's interested in past lifetimes? What are your deepest interests now versus when you were a kid? So, excuse me, like if you're, okay, you shouldn't be listening if you're 10 years old and under, but anyway. But 10 years old and under have very specific things. One of the things that I wanted to do was to be a horse rider. Anything to do with horses. it was so intense that my mom got me everything she could on horses, books, everything under the sun on horses, okay? Now, that went all the way throughout my entire life in different subject matters. Come to find out, anything that the heart truly, it has to be from the heart. It's not just something that you're completely drawn to. It is something that is like every aspect, every cell in your body is drawn to. And that's when I found out how many lifetimes I actually had, because I was absolutely stunned how that correlates in our current lifetime. Come to find out, I was a Native American female who was a warrior, very few of them at the time. And years ago, back in 2011, told a friend of mine that he and I were both Native American, that we were siblings, I told him he was my brother. This was long before I ever thought about past lifetimes. I thought about past lifetimes, but not like now. And basically, because he and I were talking on the phone, and we ended up with this conversation to where I got a psychic hit hard. I actually saw myself on a horse, saw him beside me, but the interesting thing is, our faces were blurred out. It was like I could see it, I could be in the body at the time, but yet I was also seeing it, watching it. And come to find out, I've had numerous past lifetimes from that experience. And when I started doing the research, I didn't do the research until, 2020, I think it was, 2019, 2020. Come to find out, I found out who this person was. Both of them were extremely famous in Native American heritage folk. I don't want to say folklore. I just don't know what I'm sorry, guys. I've had a long day, and I don't remember what it's called. I don't want to say folklore, but it's
culture.
All of that, and culture. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And there are pictures of the two of them. Not many. Well, actually, I take it back. There's only one picture of her, but there's a couple of actual pictures of him from that lifetime in the 1800s, and so you can have past lifetimes simply because your soul knows. Your soul remembers. It's just getting your physical brain that is current to recognize it, and once I did, many there's two of my past lifetimes that actually have the strongest memories. That's one, and then the lifetime right after it. So fascinating. So it's very possible that he had that. Hello, somebody just came in and is making noises.
Brian, yeah, no, it's actually quite wild how similar these two are, and well, when one of the family members of the deceased saw John and talked to him, she was very nice to him. She was wonderful to him.
Yeah.
But she immediately had to go and leave because she was very upset. Because she felt John was him.
Yeah.
Friend. So it caused her pain, but at the same time, I think she was glad to see him.
That makes sense.
Which probably made John feel weird, but friend,
That's awesome that he
yeah.
found that.
yeah, it is a really neat thing,
Yeah.
friend.
Very strange.
But yeah,
Yeah.
now you have to tell us a story about a haunted place because, well,
Oh, actually, I've been watching. So, there's a channel called Sam and Colby on YouTube. They go to a ton of haunted places. It's just how I figured out about this one. They recently went to the Conjuring house, which is the house with Annabelle and all that. And they went in there with a group called The Boys. It's just a channel of guys who do stupid stuff. And they went in there and did a whole thing. Actually, a lot of YouTubers are going in that house and exploring it. It's actually really cool. And, yeah. They went inside the Conjuring house. Supposedly there's 15 dead soldiers in the yard, a dead kid in the house.
Nah, it's not really real, so.
well,
I mean,
Well,
no, it's the fact that Sam and Colby,
hey.
yeah, they're not real.
No,
Nah.
not at all.
But they're cool. They're hip.
my daughter watches that too.
Yeah,
They're
so does ours. She actually, for her birthday, she asked for a whole bunch of their merch.
They're hip with the kids.
And my sister-in-law, Candace, was very upset that she had to look at that stuff online.
Hey.
But even like the two of them, when you hear their interviews, they admit that they don't actually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They are learning as they go, and they are trying to figure stuff out as they go, and they're taking a scientific method and going with it. Yes, like I Nikki, I see your face, huh?
They're on TV.
They're on YouTube.
Right?
They're on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
completely
story.
different from
Yeah,
TV.
no, they don't have a TV show.
Yeah. They just... Actually, they recently found out a method that I like. It's called the Eptis method or something like that. It's those weird
SDs.
those weird radio things that changes channels that supposedly you can hear ghosts from.
Yeah.
You put a headphones with that on and put a blindfold on, and you can communicate through that. It's weird.
I really hate
Yeah,
those
then
things.
that depends on. It's okay. The only person I like
nuts.
with the ghost box, the spirit boxes, is Bill Hauser. He is the only one that does it correctly. I'm going to be blunt. Otherwise, I don't like him at all. He is the only one that does it not only correctly, he's intuitive enough to catch the real stuff.
But his
And you
didn't grab radio. That was the part that bothered me with most of them. When they just grab scenes from radio stations, that really bugs the shit out of me.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Because then it's just random words that are coming out from each station that it hits.
Yeah, and you have to be You have to have the discernment and the intuitiveness to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the big difference with that stuff. And if you don't have it, then it's all just a game. It's all fake.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's why I like Bill when he does it, because he has the discernment. He can make it, and you can hear it. And I know people that use, and he has his built a specific way too. He doesn't have his stuff built the commercial typical way. So that's the only reason why I promote him. He's good at what he does.
Mm-hmm. I mean, people don't really realize, and I'm sure Nikki will
Don't.
really agree on that, is like, the spirit boxes, anything's flying up around there, usually who doesn't want to be judged, so they're bored, and they're like, look, someone turned something on, I'm going to go talk to them, this will be fun. I mean, it's like a narcissist in the sky. I mean, it's just,
It can be, yeah. It really can be, because you can get wannabe demons coming through.
Oh, yes.
You can get all kinds of things coming through.
Yeah, and people don't know what they're messing with, and these people who are these wannabe paranormal people, just because they want to thrill, it's just the saddest thing. And I've been in so many places where I've gone to, public ones and public ones, because they're a little cheaper. It's like, okay, well, we'll go, and my friend Misty and I will go up, and you'll see so many people who are just those wannabes. And it's sad because the first thing they do is whip out those things. I mean, they could be cheap to even I built my own. And they're just sitting there really believing, anything's coming through, and they're asking the stupidest dramatic questions. Oh, it just makes me infuriated. As a medium, it makes me infuriated. And they don't care, too, even as, you're the medium telling them, this is bull. So you just have to walk out. I walk out all the time. But yeah, me and Misty do the Ovilus, and I've had a lot of massive interaction with that. And you can kind of see on my podcast that we do our investigations on the Haunting Good Time, where we tape that, and you can hear that, the Ovilus is going off. You can hear what it's saying. And right before, usually, it will say a word, myself or Misty will say something before it. And then it will say it, or it'll say it after we thought this thought or something. But it's it's in unison of what is going on around us, and they have to work to actually get that word to come through.
Well, so. And like Nikki said, everything you have to interpret it properly, and you have to use the equipment properly, because Nikki, I'm gonna admit the only time I've ever met that Bill Hauser. I don't think he was on his game that day.
No, at the
Paracon.
Sorry. Yeah,
I don't know who that is. Is he at
he's a local gentleman from up north that creates spirit boxes.
BC. He's in BC. He's in Surrey.
I still consider that local.
He goes by Can Dewey.
Okay.
But
he's been on all sorts of shows, and he works with different psychics and all sorts of stuff, and he goes out and does all sorts of paranormal different things. And he had brought a new box with him at that time and hadn't got a chance to test it before the show. Well, he did. Okay, I'm going to say something, Cole, because he did get information. I got asked by 2 women at that event to give them
money.
To give them information from what they heard, because they were 2 women who did receive quality good information that came through for them. No, but I mean his presentation. With it, though, is the other things were wonky. Yeah, and his presentation wasn't on par because he had issues with the machine. It threw him off completely. Yeah. And because that's been my only interaction with him, it threw me for a loop. So, but everything I have heard from him other than that has been very positive. The thing is, I still have very little trust in any of those. I don't even like EMF meters.
Well, it's digital, and all digital can be compromised.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the old ways, friend.
Where you have the snake in the basket and you play the flute?
No, you spread freaking flour on the ground and have them step through it. That kind of stuff. I want to see, But
what happens if that's not their ghost power? What happens if they can only just leave the barrier of the house, like in Ghost? Gotta remember.
Well, then you wouldn't catch them in the flower, would you?
What do you mean in Ghost? You mean the one with the pottery wheel?
The TV show.
Oh, okay. Ghosts.
Yeah, you gotta watch the new season in order to understand that. You gotta keep up with it. But I found some information about the Conjuring house.
Okay.
Actually, it's mostly real estate information. But the asking price for the house right now is $1.5 million. It's pretty good. It's 27 percent overall asking price. It's in a remote part of Rhode Island. It's pretty cool.
Is it in Rhode Island?
Yeah, it's in Rhode Island. It's a 300-year-old house right now, and they are actually selling it right now.
Nikki, does that sound right to you?
What was the name of it that you were saying?
The Conjuring House.
The Conjuring
the
House.
house that, what's their names?
That's in New York. That's in New York.
No, it's in Rhode Island.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
Okay, and we're thinking of two different houses. I'm thinking.
Well,
of
there was The Conjuring, and then there was The Conjuring 2.
There was a
Conjuring 2 was Europe.
Because the house you're probably thinking about is the one they actually did the movie in, which is, I believe, in New York.
Hainesville?
Yeah, this house is in... Where was it? Harrysville.
Harrysville?
Yeah. Harrisville. A town about 40 miles northwest of Providence, Rhode Island.
Huh.
Weird.
And it was recently sold to the bank for $1.2 million and is being sold today. And it has a cemetery not only like 2 miles away from it that is on the property.
There is no way that house is actually worth $1.5 million.
It is. The main reason why it's worth that much is because of the yard on it, and it's a historical, actual, like...
But it does have,
house.
like, several acres.
Yeah, it has several acres on it.
Okay.
And it also has a few, like, little structures around it, and it also has a cemetery on the property. It's actually a pretty good house. The only problem is the hauntings. But other than that, it's a really nice house.
Yeah, but, there's hauntings almost everywhere. Like, if you look right, like, if you can see... They're
Not gonna lie,
everywhere.
I don't want to buy a house with someone else's cemetery on it.
But
no, neither would I.
Yeah, but you could just, like, transform it. You could, like...
What?
What are you
That's
talking
desecration.
No, you can make it look all nice and beautiful. Like, you could fix up the fence, clean up the tombstones. Then you could have the local goth kids, like, run around in there. And then you could trap them.
That's back to desecration.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, then you could trap them, put them in the child labor facilities.
Jesus. Okay.
But no, this house is actually pretty nice. It also has a campfire in the backyard.
Well, yeah, I would assume most country houses.
And the
have a
birthing
campfire.
room inside the house is actually, it doesn't look that bad.
Okay.
Well, I guess Sam and Colby said the last show will be at John's house.
Oh, and it also has a really cool, like, reading nook.
Nice.
And the basement is a little bit smaller than the normal house, but it has a lot of dead snake skins, so that's
Hi,
something
Robert.
to look forward to. Hey, Robert.
Hello.
I was going to say that Robert actually texted in the group chat, too.
Oh, did he?
So, you can keep your Conjuring house there, John.
I might.
And for $1.3 million, I think I'm good without it.
I think I might buy it. If I had that much, I would buy it.
Probably.
Actually, no, I would
want
more
to
like
buy-
buy a house in Texas because they're like twice the amount of yardage, and the house is a lot better for the asking price if you look on Zillow.
Would that
Just
be
saying.
in Tornado Alley?
But then you'd have to live in Texas.
Yeah.
Live in Texas. Miles and miles. Of
I could get a southern
miles
accent.
and
I can
miles.
suddenly start like owning a ranch.
Dude, the only ranch I could see you own is Skinwalker Ranch.
I know, it would be so cool.
God.
No,
So, I have
living in Texas is always, this would be great until you actually have to live there, and the humidity, the mosquitoes, the hurricanes, tornadoes.
Mosquitoes.
Hey, I'm
All summer,
I'm not a-
for 9 months
no,
out of the year.
that's
Speaking
racist.
of tornadoes,
No, that's sexist.
that
I
tornado
can't
that
say.
Nikki and I were getting that information on, it really did happen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That is
yeah, that was crazy.
And the numbers were right that Nikki gave.
Crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's
To all
funny
the-
because, I got it like the week before you did, and then when you said it, it was validation for me, so.
To all the families of the people who were stuck in that gas station, and to the ones who didn't, families of the ones who didn't make it out, our condolences.
Yeah.
To those that were able to get out,
Good job.
good healing to you. That sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that was the one I predicted as well, because I saw one lower east side of Texas, and apparently one hit there, and I had said that there'd be about 5 to 7 deaths, and there were about that many.
So this one was northeast of Texas, and so north of Dallas Fort Worth, and
Was it Ramsey?
125 I think didn't make it.
Oh, damn.
You know, I was getting a lot of 7 too. I didn't know what that meant.
It was like a Buc-ee's that friggin' collapsed.
Oh, no.
God.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Did it hit at 7 p.m. or something?
I can't remember the time.
Yeah, me neither.
Just wondered, yeah.
I posted about it to you guys almost immediately, like about an hour and a half after it, say.
Yeah, right. Yeah. When it came through, I was really, like, shocked.
So it would have been about 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Was that daylight savings time or not?
That's
Might have
true.
been-
No, I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So for me,
There's a hotel down there?
no, for me it might have been... No.
Alberta last week had the weirdest tornado, like one they have never seen up there before, because we
Okay.
shouldn't get these. Normally a tornado starts because cold air pushes hot air up. This was hot air pushing cold air up. And so
Wow.
they called it a hybrid. So it didn't spin the right way either.
Okay.
Pretty much imagine a tornado in Australia.
Right.
Yes.
They are cyclones down here.
Oh,
Yeah. But just like a toilet spinning the opposite way.
That one was.
Yes. And it scared the hell out of people.
I bet it did.
Because they, like, well, you're used to seeing them. But not only was this a hybrid, it was a crawler. I don't know if you guys know what I mean by that.
Going along the ground,
So,
basically.
yeah, like the funnel will be about 500 to 800 meters behind the actual bottom of it. And it just looks like it's crawling across the ground.
That is weird.
Did you get moose?
I've never seen that. Wow.
We've been at my mother-in-law's for a week, and John's cat ran away.
it was just on the...
And he just found him on the porch. Finally got hungry.
So he'll disappear for a minute here.
Damn it, Ted.
Right?
Well, no, damn it, John. John left his window open the entire time we were gone.
Oh.
Damn it, John.
Oops.
Oh, no.
Just wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
It was hot the day we left.
You're not thinking. Who would have thought?
Right?
Alright, haunted.
Another haunted
Haunted
place.
places.
I got one. What do you guys think about the Paris catacombs?
Did you know there's a hotel down
Oh,
there?
yes.
I never want to go.
Yeah.
As a medium, I never want to go.
Right?
Neither do I.
So,
If
supposedly...
I'm not a
Very
medium,
sick.
I would love to go.
No, do you know? It has.
Yeah, if I were not a medium and had psychic
Oh,
abilities,
if you were
I would
not.
love to go. Yeah.
Do you know why I wouldn't go?
It's someplace I always wanted to go to begin with, but when I
Yeah.
realized, when I made the true realization of what I could do, I was like, oh no, we're done. Nope.
Yeah, like my friends visited there, and I'm like, I don't know how you.
The only
could do
problem I would have with it is, did you know how many traps are actually set down there from people
What?
wanting to keep their territory down there.
That's not the problem.
That is the main problem.
No,
No,
it's
the
not. It's
main
the fact-
problem is the 6 million people's remains that are down
No.
there, bud.
No, because you can just crush your skulls. Like, you can crush a dead person's skull, but with a living one, it's a lot harder.
The main problem is we're all from America.
It's like,
Like, other than Robert and me mostly, Fran, we're all from America. Meaning they're all French down there. They already hate us. Now we have a bunch, like there's 6 million ghosts that hate us down there. Great.
No, we had an alliance for a bit.
point. After what happened
Wait, when
to me,
did they actually
were
die?
listening
Because
to
that
him.
depends. Because we had an alliance during World War II, and we also had an alliance during first, and I think it was the first or second French Revolution.
Okay. But yeah,
'Cause they might like us.
Well,
They
the
put a
last one died
hotel.
5 minutes ago.
they put a hotel down in the catacombs that
Yeah.
you can stay in,
Yeah.
That's just asking for trouble.
and I'm
Yeah,
like,
and it
that's
looks so cool.
ridiculous.
It has like a little dead buffalo head at the mantle of the bed, and there's like a ton of skulls around it. It's cool. It even has a really cool stairway. I'm just saying. And the asking price to actually go there per night is not that much.
But they do have a
102.
I got a ghost in the house right now.
102 francs
I
or
literally
102
just got
dollars.
told by my son.
I don't know.
Oh.
But it closes at
But you know,
9:48
like,
a.m.
so I was reading a little bit on the catacombs, and like over 500,000 people a year visit it. Alright. And
Yeah.
the number of like crazy stories that come out of there, and the number of things that people have seen, like they're way too numerous to even.
How many do?
Over 500,000.
Over 500,000 visit.
Yeah.
Under 500,000 come back out.
Well, it depends how.
Well, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Well, it depends how far they go down.
Welcome to the final destination.
Well, there's been like reports of like in the earlier days and stuff. There was I guess some kind of almost serial killer dude that would kill people in the catacombs and then throw them into the pile of bones.
Oh my god.
That's
You know
not.
what, though? This is
There's like
just
all
as
kinds of
bad as-
crazy stuff that happened down there.
Wow.
You guys remember that cave that's in England that it's considered one of the oldest pieces of art
Hellfire
in the
Club?
world? Which one?
No.
Is it the Hellfire Club?
No, like it's a piece of cave art from almost the Neanderthal period.
Oh, with the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And they actually had to rebuild it so that people could visit because they had to stop people from going in because just
So
us
their breath was
breathing.
destroying it.
Yeah, this is going to be the same thing with this place.
With the catacombs.
Putting that kind of crap down there, like those are people's remains down there. It's not okay.
Well, haven't they sealed off some sections so people can't go to those areas?
Yes,
Yes,
What I've seen in
they
some-
have
They
that.
did seal off quite a bit of sections of the catacombs,
But people are
there's
st-
only a small section really that you can go through
Uh,
anymore.
No,
Because, but there's people that are finding new sections all the time too. So like,
lead to the bigger.
I think the newest section was just found in 2022 by somebody that was digging and ended up falling through into the catacombs.
Yeah.
Into a section that they hadn't discovered
great.
yet.
It-
So
yeah, and they're constantly finding new layers that keep on going deeper and deeper.
Well,
And-
if you look too at like pictures, like I've seen some historical, like something on TV or a book, I can't remember, but I saw like historical pictures of them trying to bury the dead, and they said that it was like basically all over Paris, and there was just like, yeah, like they said, just kind of layers and layers of things of just because they didn't have anywhere to put anybody.
Yeah.
So they just
Yeah.
didn't care, and then they built the city on top of it.
And-
so it's
Yep.
pretty creepy.
And fun fact, around 100 people per year go missing in the catacombs.
Told you.
And they
Serious.
yes,
Yeah.
100 people per year go missing in the catacombs and are never reported.
never found.
I like how to you that's a fun
Never
fact.
seen again.
That's been going on for generations.
Yeah.
Never heard
Centuries.
that. But I mean, I don't know. You will never get me there. No way.
Kayla, we both
Roselle
got,
out.
Me and Kayla posted the same picture.
What?
We posted the same picture in Discord.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, catacombs.
Oops. Oh, you,
You know what?
posted
Mine
a
did
cat.
that though. When I tried to post one thing, it like triple did it. So it might be a glitch.
Well, no, look in there, Rosella. Our pictures are almost identical.
You have a cat
It's a catacomb.
with a comb. That's not.
I love it. That's pretty funny.
I don't like.
That is
I
hysterical.
don't know. Like we have, like the main three that are known. Well, no, four. Sorry. Are London,
Italy.
Paris, Italy, and then Russia. Supposedly, there's catacombs under the Red Square.
I wouldn't doubt it.
But
I don't know of very many other, like, Egypt just threw them out in the desert. And
Yeah.
built stuff on top of them. But,
Yeah.
like, it
But I mean, okay, if you think about the amount of humans that have lived on this planet, okay, from the very first beginning of like Neanderthal humans, okay,
okay.
the amount of bones, pretty much anywhere you're walking on something. Like it, they had to put them somewhere.
Okay, now that's a question I have to ask. Do you think that hotel allows pets?
Oh,
Oh, that would be terrible. That'd be terrible.
Oh, God.
Like,
I would assume that they would definitely not allow dogs. But
well, that's
Yeah.
just racist.
just saying.
Correct.
Well, what's the other, like, what's on other places, I guess, that, has anybody been anywhere that's extremely haunted?
Yes.
Fort Gamble, Walker Ames house. I've been there. The woman in the ghost in there does not like me because I removed a child ghost that she was trying to torture. I got him crossed over. He glommed onto me. But yeah, Walker Ames house is a very famous in Washington State in Fort Gamble. Let me try this again. Walker Ames, A-M-E-S, house, that's what it's called, in Fort Gamble, Washington. Okay? And it's very known. It's on some kind of registry for ghosties.
I've heard of it.
But this ghostie wasn't on the register. I checked. But yeah, this child was terrified of her, and this woman is not nice. And that's my professional opinion. She is not nice. Very vicious. But she is known to be at the house. And yeah, she will go through the house. I can't even set foot on the property. I mean, even if you go, you can. It's a vacant house that they literally do ghost walks through. They do ghost walks through that entire town. Excuse me. And but that house is famous for it. And it's famous for her. And boy, was she pissed. Last time I went to Port Gamble, I walked in front of the house, and she called me a name that I could only classify in regular terms as a bitch. And she goes, "You don't come here." And I was like, "I'm here. Get used to it. Deal." she and I don't like each other. And so when I was at the foot of the stairs, at the back end of, well, technically, I guess it's the front of the house, because they built the house for the view of the water looking at. But the front of the house is where the street is at. But so at the back of the house, what we would call the back, there's a bunch of cement stairs. It goes down the back of the property. And I skirt around, whenever I'm there, I skirt around that property and go to the back of the stairs, and I'll just stand there and I'll watch. There's a tree nearby. I'll either stand at the bottom of the stairs itself, or I'll go to the tree, great big, huge, been there for generations. I think it's an oak tree, and I'll stand under the shade and just look at the house, and, she'll stand in one of the windows, and she'll do this. She'll start pointing her finger at me. And it's rare because I don't always see spirits. Her, I see. I actually visually see with my eyes, so I'll start taking pictures. And you can barely see her. It's barely an image in this tiny little window, and I'm like, wow, okay. So, yeah, that's a very well-known, very famous haunted house in Washington State. That's one I've been to. Now, the gentleman, there's another house, but it's in New York State, and that's the one that I thought you guys were talking about earlier. I had to go look it up because I couldn't remember the name of it. It's the Hinsdale House in New York State, and it's the guy was on Spaced Out Radio one year. I don't remember what year. Might have been 2019, 2020. 2018, 2019, 2020, somewhere in there. And the website is hauntedhinsdalehouse.com. And when he was talking, he was being interviewed by Dave Scott, and when I was listening, all of a sudden I started having instantaneous psychic. He said one word, I don't even remember what the word was, and the next thing I know, I am like right there, plastered on that. It was like my higher consciousness went. I don't know how else to explain it. I was standing on the property, and I start typing in the chat, oh my God, is there a tree here, here, and here? And Dave read it, and I said, there's a vortex in it. That's not just the house that's haunted, it's the entire frickin' property. And I said, there's a vortex there, and then there's a vortex, I don't remember exactly where the other one was right now, but the main vortex that I kept, and it wasn't a portal, it was an actual vortex in the top of the trees. It was my first experience with vortexes. I've never seen anything like that before. And
that would have been the gifting tree.
Yeah, thank you. He went in to explain. Dave read what I wrote on air, and he went. Matter of fact, I think you may have been in the chat, Robert, at the time. And he went on to explain that the owner, which I don't remember the guy's name, very nice guy. He went on to explain all the problems that they've had around that tree, and they couldn't figure out why. They've had all kinds of weird things in the house, but they've also had weird stuff outside on the property. And Dave was like, yeah, she's a psychic medium based out of Seattle, and knows her stuff. And it was just so stunning because I hadn't had that intense of an experience with that kind of higher consciousness before. No, this was 2018. I'm just remembering this now. And it was a very interesting conversation. But yeah, it's called the Hinsdale house, and it's in Hinsdale, New York. So yeah, check it out. It's like a woo hoo hoo. You want high woo? That's a house to go see.
I think that was the one I was picking up stuff on too, and that same chat, because I was asking him if they'd found things inside the walls.
Yes.
Like especially in the bathroom wall, because I was picking up something that was in there that probably shouldn't have been, but.
I don't remember what there was about that property. I know I've got it written in my psychic journal notes, but there was a bunch of things about that property. I want to say I don't know or I don't remember, but that's. I literally have those kind of notes written down in my psychic journal because I was so blown away by the amount of paranormal actually on that property, and the different things that I was seeing. And it went back beyond Native American on that soil, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Mm-hmm. And it's like that house and that property specifically draws things in. And I'm like, okay, there's something really wrong if a house and a piece of property is literally drawing negative entities in and drawing other ghosts in. And it's just like, whoa. Intense. Really intense.
The only place that I've ever been that's been like documented as super haunted, it's actually only about 25 miles away from here. It's a Northern State Hospital in Sedro-Woolley. There's been tons of reports about hauntings there. I went and walked the dairy grounds because it was like its own thing. That was a really bad idea for me, but I tried to.
Don't go there.
I know.
Everybody else recommends.
No, that's a horrible place. And actually, this is the really weird part about it. So they reopened one of the wings of the hospital recently, and made it into a job corps. Okay, so now it's just a whole bunch of like teens and early adults that are staying there for a job corps thing. And one of my friends, actually, she does the overnight advisor for that place, and she like refuses to go on the third floor. She won't do it.
No, she's good now.
Yeah. At one point, she was up there checking, and somebody pushed her, but there was nobody up there. So she kind of was having a good little freak out about that one. But yeah. So on a weird note, my grandfather actually was a patient there. My great-grandfather. And he is part of the missing list for missing patients.
What?
Because there was a crap ton of people that went in there, and then their families were never told about them again, and they told them that they transferred them, but they couldn't figure out where they transferred them to. And there's a huge list of people that went in but never came out, so they call them the missing. And
so he's still missing? Like, you never found him?
Nope.
What?
Yeah.
Well, and now they won't.
And you won't now, because there's like this old cemetery on the lands, and they didn't give the patients' names. They gave the patients' numbers.
Yeah.
So the cemetery is numbered, but there's a whole bunch of graves and a whole bunch of stuff on the cemetery that has no numbers. It's just there. So we're assuming that most of the patients that are on that missing patients list they're dead. They were buried there, but they just weren't ever documented that they were.
That's just a lot of people to not document.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm sorry. That's so terrible.
Yeah, my great grandfather on my grandma's side, he was taken there. They figure he probably actually had Alzheimer's, but they didn't know that back then. Like, they called it going senile or crazy, so he ended up in the Northern State Hospital. And then, we never heard about him again. Nobody ever heard about him again.
That's
terrible.
There is a possibility he was sent to another hospital, but even then, there was no record of his transfer,
documentation,
and there's no documentation of him ever going there,
and no documentation of a death anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just
But at that time, they never took documentation for half of their patients.
But at that time, there was a lot of, in the state hospitals, there was a lot of experimenting going on that should not have been.
Was that like tuberculosis time?
That would have been in, like, the early 1940s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 1940s, 1950s. That he was in there. So. But yeah, no, there's like, that place was open until, what, the 70s, and yeah.
I went there when I was in high school. I walked the grounds. I can't even remember exactly who the hell I was with. I just remember being there on that property, and I'm like, nah, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be here.
Trans-Allegheny, because I went there, Trans-Allegheny, and that was crazy. 44 events happened to me in one night.
I'm
44.
sorry.
It was so crazy. I mean, I literally was writing things in my cell phone to, in my notes to try to just document every single thing that happened because it was just like insane. And unfortunately, it didn't stop there because when I got back to my hotel room, I was in a brand new hotel, and I should have like mentioned and changed rooms earlier because I came really early, like at 2:00 and checked in, and I should have changed hotel rooms because there was a guy who committed suicide in the hotel room who really was pissed off at me when I was in there. But
because
I
you could hear him. Wait a minute.
I could
He
see
was pissed off. What was he pissed off because you could hear him and see him?
Yeah, pretty much. Like when you out them,
Yeah,
they hate when they're
I've had
outed. But yeah, I'm like, dude, just leave me alone. Like, just let me sleep for a little while because I need to like drive. And that was the day that the next day, Ohio shut down from COVID. So, I mean, I had to make sure that I had like food and everything like that just because I didn't know, like, and there's nothing I could go through, like a drive-through or if there was a rest area on the way home because that was like back road in country. There was nothing to stop at. So it was like bad. But the only things that actually happened when we went into like with a big group, the only things that happened to my group because basically I think I was in it. Because I was not I wasn't like outed myself on my gift yet. I was just trying to remain kind of thing and not telling anybody. And I think they always know. And then they're like, well, you know what? We're going to play, But that was the most fun of places I'd ever been in. I would go back for sure again just to see like what else might happen. But kind of reminds me of a similar story with maybe your grandfather. People were dropped off all the time because, you just wanted to get rid of them, like family members. They were a burden, like kids, didn't matter like what age or spouses. Like this one woman stopped and told me that because she was in a wheelchair kind of thing, like with a tray. I mean, like it was really crazy old fashioned, like looking into a movie. And she was telling me that she kept saying he dropped me off here because he wanted to marry his floozy. And they did she said they scrambled my brains. And then they she kept telling me, I hate green beans because they would, blend up the green beans and try to feed them to her. And she died. Like eventually she died from all of it. Mm-hmm. It was so tragic. I'm like, man, how wretched. And she just kept saying, he left me here. And then there was a child that I talked to as well she kept asking me, who she was, where her parents were. She didn't know why she was always there. It was just like sad situation. Mm-hmm. But that place is really wickedly haunted. Wicked too.
Now, I can tell you that they say, okay, so I've also been to this little ghost town by where we go camping and by where my family cemetery is. And it's called Liberty, Washington. Hey. And tons of people have said that this place is ridiculously haunted. And they've done, like, shows on it. And they've, like, oh my god, there's something here. I've probably been there, I don't know, I'd say a good 40, 50 times. and I have never heard, felt, or seen anything. So I gotta say, as far as I'm concerned, I don't feel it there at all.
That's me in like Waverly Hills. I went to Kentucky, Waverly Hills, and nothing. I mean, we saw a few shadow figures, but you can tell, like, because they're like, look down this hallway, and you know, like with your your perception in the dark, you just really can't tell. Like, is something moving or not? I would say it's really your eyes trying to focus and adjust mostly that whole time, because you just can't make it out. And then they're like, yeah, this happens every single night. Everybody experiences this. And we had like a pebble get kicked out of nowhere, and nothing else really happened. It was pretty uneventful. And I've heard a lot of people say, like, there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. Kind of like that. You either feel it or you don't feel it.
Right.
You know?
And like I said, like, I've been to places, like I was saying, I've been to, like, northern state, and you don't even want to get out of the car. You have that, like, hit you. But this place, I could go wander through it all day long, and there, like, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing there. Doesn't mean that there isn't for somebody else that might have a connection with it or something else, but I've never seen or heard or anything out of the ordinary.
There's a lot of people who I think like they just make up stories for fun and it gets carried too far. I mean, unfortunately, that's this day and age a lot.
Bars and restaurants are very famous for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of that, actually, that place in Kentucky, like I always forget what it's called, like Black something. I can't remember. I bet you John would know because of watching all the stuff on TV. Like, I mean, YouTube and all that, like he was talking about, because it's a famous bar, like Willie's or something, I can't remember, but they're closing it down, which I was always happy about, because I really feel like, you know how you watch a show, like, and you just feel like the devil is there, like, I'm never going there, is you can feel it through the camera, like, just the film, it's insane. But, yeah, this bar was always...
Wouldn't be Bobby Mackey's, would it?
Bobby Mackey's.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They shut that down and they're going to demolish it, apparently.
I was happy about that. I'm like, good, get rid of it. It's just blackness. It's just very bad.
Yeah, but okay. So I always worry about that, though, and I don't know, because, like, I'm not very good with ghosts. Like, I gotta be perfectly honest. I'm really, really bad with ghosts. I don't deal with them. I don't try to deal with them in any way, shape, or form. But if
you like were around, or like, what do you mean?
Yeah, we'll put it that way. I don't like them around. But I've always wondered, like, if you're going to take a place that is severely haunted and you demolish it,
where do they go?
What are you doing to all of those displaced spirits?
They're still
pissing them the fuck off.
Yeah, but they're still trapped on the land. It's
Will
not
they
like
still
the actual...
be stuck there?
Yes.
Even though, like, okay, so you put up a shopping mall and then they're going to haunt the shopping mall?
They hunt the land that they died on.
Okay. No, I'm just wondering, like...
That's something that I've been wondering about the Twin Towers. If the people that died up there in the 78th floor or whatever, would they still be at the 78th floor, or would they be on the ground?
Well, yeah.
Just floating up in the sky.
Over.
Yeah, I don't know.
Many of them crossed over.
Yeah.
I mean, I have found that people will tell me that they basically, like, go right into, their house or whatever is next door, that kind of thing, because... And I don't believe it's in stuckness. I mean, because on the other side, they tell me all the time there's no stuckness, like being stuck. Mm-hmm. It's a choice.
It's a choice they make.
Right, free will.
That's why I call them ghosties, because those are to me, the ghosties are the ones who, sorry, I'm losing my voice. Ghosties to me are the ones that choose to stay stuck. They believe that they can't cross over, or... Like with one of the 17-year-old teenage girl from the 1800s, she was terrified She was actually terrified to cross over. She had convinced herself that she could not cross over and that nobody would ever love her. She had family on the other side. I don't know how else to say it, but
I've seen it.
God opened up the white light, and I had shone so bright, and I couldn't even look. And we had a conversation. God was telling me, you've got to help talk to her, because she's not going to listen to me. And for whatever reason, she trusts you. So that's a choice. And you can cross over at whatever religion you believe in.
Yeah.
It's going to be that way for you. Whatever religion you believe. This is what I've learned crossing over 50 spirits in one night. And they were like, well, I had Jewish folks. I had Muslim folks. And we're talking, some of them were from the 1700s. Others were from much, much earlier.
You say whatever religion, right?
And they had been trapped. For whatever reason, they had been trapped. I won't get into all of that. But the point is that what I learned from that experience alone is that when they cross over, whatever it is that they believe in, that is what will take place on the other side for them.
Well, and I
find that fascinating.
What I've always noticed too is that, just like if you go through a traumatic event in your lifetime, okay, if it's a traumatic death and it's a traumatic event for you, then
it's shock.
It's like you live in that event until you can get out of it.
Yeah, there are ghosts that do that. There are spirits that do that.
You guys talking about whether a spirit stays or not. I actually have something to do with that here. How many of you know the poem, The Cremation of Sam McGee?
No.
Nikki does?
I do.
Kayla does?
Yes,
John,
I do.
John probably
A
hasn't
long
learned
time
it yet.
since I've heard it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my dad's friend knew the author, Robert Service. Friend. So, Robert Service visited all throughout Western Canada. He visited the Yukon. He visited Dawson City. Friend. To the point where we actually, there is a memorial burial for him in Bicycle, Alberta. Because it was one of his favorite last stops before he went to the Yukon. So, there has always been people that said they would see him because when they made the burial for him, the gravestone, there is him, and beside him they made one for Sam McGee. Sam McGee is not a real person. He is a creation of Robert Service. So, but it is one of the coolest things to go see. But I guess a lot of people actually see someone sitting on Robert Service's gravestone and kicking dirt at the gravestone of Sam McGee.
Wow.
But it's not like an actual person.
Yeah.
Friend. He's not there. He's buried in France. So, like, do you think they have to stay where they are, or could they go to places that meant something to them?
No, I don't think that they can. I mean, honestly, spirits can travel anywhere that they want to. Even when they're in heaven, they come back down all the time and pop in and out of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they choose to stay.
Friend.
Yeah, I mean, I had one that chose to stay in this really old hotel called Golden Lamb. And Van Buren or Van Hort, I forget his last name now because it was very different. But he had accidentally killed himself, basically, with a revolver. And he thought that he was going to go to hell because of Christianity telling you that you're going to go to hell if you commit suicide. For 140 years, he was stuck there. And I kept writing, like coming back and talking to him, and I wrote a few blogs about it and interacting with him. And basically came in, and I read out loud the articles and told him that he wasn't forgotten, and explained to him that the angels were there to kind of take him home if he wanted to go, because Archangel Raphael works with me, and he was in the room with me. And I said, trust me, if I have this angel with me and you see this angel is real, and you can go, because you have family on the other side, and your parents want to see you. And in trusting me, he, like in them seeing Raphael, he did go, but he was afraid of judgment. And usually it's always they're afraid of judgment. You know, the ones that go to hell, like, usually will be drugged straight down. So people who say they're really stuck, it's really like the judgment. It's always a judgment. I mean, that's how I've really known, like, felt about it for a long time. You know?
Yeah, I tend to disagree with that, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
What I've learned from what I've been told from the Akashic Records, from what I've been told from numerous others on the other side, is that if there's a suicide, when they cross over, yeah, they see their loved ones, they go through all of that, but they will be taken to a soul, to a soul type of college. It's basically like they retrain them.
Angel school.
Yeah, it's like a form of schooling. They re-educate these souls to understand why that suicide is not an option, and they keep them there until that soul understands. And it's not about repentance. It's about reteaching that soul so that when they come back in, it doesn't happen again.
I agree. Yeah, to me, they've always kind of like called it in a way like angel school, because the angels are actually schooling you. So you are not an angel, but angel schools like for you, schooling you, the spirit. So yeah, and I get like a lot of like that kind of stuff too with my readings with people who have like maybe a bad parent or something like that, or had a bad spouse. They died, and the spouse is coming through saying like, I went through this angel school, and now I'm sorry, you know, I see my error, my ways, I'm helping other people. A lot of that will happen. So, and sometimes some people will come through and they're like still like ornery a little bit because they haven't been through enough. Like Nikki said, it's just up to the angels and God to, boom, this is how long you need to be there to learn.
To retrain them.
Right. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a story here from Paula. So Paula says, I had one very terrifying experience near Crater Lake, and I believe she's talking about Crater Lake, Oregon. About 26 or so years ago. My spouse at the time went up to some creepy Forest Service road to find this beautiful campground near a pretty waterfall. It was just him, me, and our 3 small daughters. The campground was completely empty of people. Nobody was there. It was gorgeous, though, so we made camp, and they were having fun, but I was so uneasy. I felt intense fear as the night wore on. It got worse and worse. By midnight, I was vomiting and hyperventilating and not making any sense with my words, but I felt something was there with us.
Makes sense to me. If you feel it and you ignore it, that's what ends up kind of happening.
Yep. Don't ignore it.
Well, it gets better.
I've thrown up so many times because of intense spirits, sadly. Like, or dark towns. I can't go through them. I totally.
So she says, my spouse, who had initially been angry with me, he suddenly packed us all up and tossed the girls in the car and our tent and stuff in about 15 minutes. He sped down the road to the nearest town, and I was still very sick the entire way until we arrived. The girls thought it was a big adventure, but I can still see their entire campground in my mind and smell it and feel it.
I bet.
That's like Walker Lake, Nevada for me. I can't go near that stupid lake, but it's because of the ETs and militaries, not because of ghosties. But I get that kind of reaction. I get violently ill because of it.
Nikki,
so I can relate.
You need water.
Yeah.
The only thing that's coating my throat right now is an A&W root beer, which I don't drink very often. I'm out of cough drops.
I had horrible allergies on Monday that just really took me down, and then last week too, Sunday and Monday.
Now this is from my move. I'm having an allergic reaction to all the dust, cleaning and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, when you have new trees outside too, or something. I mean, that I was allergic to my trees for like 4 months when I moved here.
Cottonwood. Here, cottonwood in April. Oh my God. People going nuts. Their sinuses are nightmares.
Did you see that video in Seattle?
No.
So the Park Service of Seattle went through one of their parks and they started it on fire to get rid of the cottonwood pieces, because if they don't do that every year, I guess it creates too many trees.
Yeah, it's just saying that's not a good idea when you burn down a forest.
No, you know what? It doesn't touch the grass or the trees because it burns itself out so fast that it just runs across it. But it is so cool to watch. Friend, it is the neatest thing you will ever see. And but if they don't do it, it grows too many of the trees all in the area.
We have like a horrible problem here, which we've never had. And my whole family has been having horrible headaches, sinus things, like your ears. It feels like you have like a sinus infection. Then the next, like 2 days later, it's just gone. And then it comes back again a few days later. It's terrible. It keeps just coming. It's really bad. And I'm extremely allergic to cottonwood.
Friend, everyone really likes them here.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
But I'm thankful I don't have hay. Anybody with hay fever, you're screwed with cottonwood.
Yeah.
Everyone likes them because they grow mushrooms. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, they're the painting mushrooms.
Not those ones, Robert.
They're the big mushrooms that like you can pull off and then like people paint on them and dry them out.
No, the ones that everyone eats.
Not red caps?
Morel or...
Morel?
Yeah, Morel.
Yeah.
The ones that give you those crazy fever dreams, like this.
No. They don't, I tried them. They don't do that to you.
Those are in the cow pastures.
Oh.
Jeez.
I think that I ate something from a tree and it gave me that. So.
You get an outhouse, you set it in the sun, you fill the walls with cow poop, For works great.
Oh, and if you ever find any mushrooms like that like give you crazy mind things, feed them to a ton of baby pigs. Trust me, it's an amazing experience.
A new thing we're doing. What the fuck? That was your first week's lesson. Next week I'll teach you how to make meth. Don't worry, guys. I got this.
Wow.
Well, we're going to skip that one. If you want to learn how to make meth, just watch Breaking Bad.
No!
Or ask me.
It's damn close.
Oh, God.
Like, they're missing, like, 2 ingredients. And they had to do it because
they didn't want to get in trouble for teaching people the bad things.
Well, no, they did get in trouble when they first started making the episode, and they were told they had to censor it. Because they actually did put out the recipe at first.
It was that damn government trying to hide.
Yeah, like a few shows have done that.
That did that, yeah.
And those are the good ones.
Gordon Ramsay did a show on cocaine, where he actually told people how to process cocaine.
That's why I like Gordon Ramsay. He's an inspiration to the youth. Just saying.
Pretty shocking to me.
Yeah,
extremely shocking.
He was learning about Colombian food, and the people that he was staying with down there took him to a cocaine processing plant.
He's a real chef.
I've never seen him even drink wine.
Oh, I have.
He's like
Oh, yeah.
major filthy, I thought.
There's a ton of videos of Gordon Ramsay drunk, I believe.
Well,
Seen-
no, I wouldn't say drunk, but
Well, I've
like,
never seen him do that on
just
TV.
tipsy.
he does it with Jamie Oliver, and I would too if I had to sit around that guy. But, friend, no, there's a few shows that he has had a drink on.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause, yeah,
but-
I mean, I used to watch Hell's Kitchen all the time, and he never.
Yeah, so none of them are his own shows.
Yeah, there are others. I think he did
Yeah,
do something
I
with
can see
Snoop
that.
Dogg.
You're more relaxed on someone else's show.
Yeah.
I'm having so many noises around my entire house. This is insane.
Is
Like,
she-
just noises all up my walls, up on my ceiling.
walls.
Like, what the heck is going on?
Maybe you have spongy moths too.
They're all in the wall.
Okay, so Paula is in there, and she's asking about whether we think it might be Bigfoot or something of that nature. Now, this is Crater Lake, Oregon, you are talking about, correct? Because if it is Crater Lake, Oregon, that you are talking about, there's the Klamath tribe there, and they believe that the island in the center of Crater Lake is like a haunting grounds for the souls of the lost. Okay, but they also have a legend that talks about skinwalkers being in that area and shapeshifters.
So haunting or hunting?
Huh?
Haunting or hunting?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you got an uneasy feel of like something was watching you and like you were being prey, then I would put it more as it potentially being one of what
Something
they would
alive
call
rather than
like,
something dead.
yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
More of a cryptid
Yeah.
type situation than a haunting
Dogs do
situation.
that too.
Well, that's sort of like when we were up at Bagby, at the trailhead for Bagby Hot Springs in Mount Hood. We were camping there because it was some sort of do that they were doing for promoting Bagby. And me, the wife, the two girls that we had at the time, we were up there camping. We were in the tent. And probably about 11 o'clock at night, we heard the god-awful bangs and cracking of trees and stuff like that. So I wasn't majorly concerned because one of the guy's sons that we were there with, he was there brandishing I think it was a Magnum or something like that with a big effing gun.
Was it a
Could have been. It was a big silver one with the rotating the bang bang bang.
So it was a revolver.
Yeah, it was a silver. Yeah,
So probably a 45 mag.
most likely. I didn't bother asking because I didn't want to get too close.
Yeah.
But yeah, we heard that, and we brought the cat along that we had at the time too, and had him on a lead, and he managed to escape the lead and take off into the dark. Pure black cat
Oh, God.
in the dark, couldn't find him, so
No.
had to lure him back with some food, I think it was, and he finally come back. We stuck him back in the harness and put him into the tent with the girls. But yeah, I think he might have picked up on something out there too.
Yeah. Well, sure would.
Yeah, I
He'd be
pretty much
food.
would have said screw the cat. Like,
Yeah.
friend, I ain't going after that.
Oh, man.
Well, there's Dogman in forest, there's Sasquatch, there's all kinds of, besides regular animals.
Oh,
And then
I'm actually going to be in a book for this Bigfoot guy who's writing. He writes about people's encounters. If you guys want to check it out, his name's Doug Waller. Not sure if
I know that name.
I thought that you had talked to me about it before or something. And I actually saw him at a library. He came to Dayton Library, and it was like an hour and a half away from me almost, really, actually. It's pretty far. It said Dayton, but it wasn't. But he was so nice, really down to earth, very realistic, even like the, the people who were tripping the audience, who wanted to invent stuff, he said very politely, things to kind of make it stop. He was really nice, very educated man. But I stood up and I told my story, and with my son, I brought my son, and he said, "Can you draw me a picture of like what you saw?" And I was like, "Well, my family members probably could better than I could." And he's like, "If you do that, I'm going to put you in my next book." Like, he has like 8 books or something.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I just got that today, to the picture to him, and he was really happy about it. He is so sweet, very nice guy.
Yeah, I've heard good things about him.
Yeah, he's
Robin. Another one you want to check out is Robin Haynes, Haynes. She does a lot of Bigfoot, Sasquatch stuff, and she's a communicator with them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he mostly writes other people's stories, which is kind of neat. And it's like, it's all around Ohio. I think it's only Ohio. But the stories were pretty interesting. And a lot of children, too, had reports in his books and had written, like, kind of drawn drawn pictures and stuff and put it in there. But one of them made it onto a paranormal show. So I thought it was just kind of interesting. But that all went down today.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that was the only good thing about today.
I'm still trying to find the lady in Tacoma. Friend, Nikki, I believe you were on the show with us at that point. Friend, 2 years ago, I think, we talked about people who had love interests with things.
With big.
And this lady was convinced she was having Bigfoot's baby. Friend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
And she lives in Tacoma. I'm trying to find an update on her. And I can't find her now. She has decent
Well, that's
fucking beard.
known. There are
She was taken by
people
Bigfoot.
who will get. And that's just what I was going to say. There are women, there are men who get taken by Bigfoot. That's usually okay. Here's the thing.
It's when they can't find a Bigfoot.
Most
they have to go
clans of Bigfoot stick together. They communicate telepathically. They've got the energy stuff. The
They got
ones
that
that don't,
psychic
they've usually
power.
been kicked out of a clan. They're usually rogue. The ones that do not, the clans of Sasquatch that do, and that's what they want to be called, is a clan, family
Like Clash of
of
Clans.
Sasquatch. The ones that they don't use their energy, they create a completely different kind of clan of Sasquatch. They don't use their energy. They don't teach any abilities onto any of their children. None of that. And it's a completely different ballgame altogether. Those are the kinds of Sasquatch that abduct humans. And yes, it does happen. And yes, they will mate with the human, or they'll use them as food.
Yeah, I don't think that was this
There are
situation.
stories. Yeah, I don't think so either. But I'm just saying, to
'Cause-
clarify.
She was trying to get deals with like Walmart and Target for like baby supplies. For
That's where you're going to smack.
friend,
Like,
it happens. Friend, but yeah, I haven't been able to find any more information on her since the original story. Friend.
Not even if she's alive?
No, I can't even find a Facebook profile anymore. Friend, I don't know.
She went incognito. She
Right.
wasn't giving birth to Bigfoot's child.
Because originally, like, she wanted to come out with him and bring him out to the world.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, everything just disappeared. And I can still find the original story, but if I search her, there's nothing.
Well, there's so many different websites for Instagram, TikTok. I mean, so many different ones. Rumble.
Yeah.
You can be on any of them.
Friend,
But yeah, but all you'd have to do is type in her name in Yahoo and it would come up or whatever.
Yeah, and there's nothing. Like, she doesn't have profiles anywhere, it looks like. So,
Interesting.
She did.
Brent couldn't even find a MySpace.
Sus.
Brent. So, Rick, do you have any places that you want to talk about?
Well, now I have been to places, but I have yet to experience a haunting personally. But I have been to the Minger Hotel in San Antonio, which I think we've discussed before on the show. It's had its fair share of ghost stories. Some people even say that Teddy Roosevelt haunts the place, although I find that to be a little... I think Teddy would have other places to haunt rather than a place he showed up to just to recruit some Rough Riders back before the Spanish-American War. But I know, I'm getting to it. I'm having prompts to the side of me. I don't get ghosts that talk to me. I get a Paula that just shoves things in my face. So, there was. I pulled up a story on the Minger, and I have since lost it, but that's okay. Now I also stayed. I was coming up on the second wife and I. We had our 5th anniversary coming up, and I every day I would stop by the grocery store on my way to when I was working in television, and I'd stop by this one grocery store and they'd have what's it called up here that Seattle, is it Stranger is what the name of the paper is?
I don't know.
New York Times?
Yeah, no.
The Inquiry?
No, it's sort of like a local...
The Stranger.
Oh.
The Stranger, yeah. Yeah, it's sort of like...
area that you can get the entire U District, Wallingford area, couple of other areas, but those are the two that pop into my head the most. But yeah, you can pick up those on free magazine stands or in grocery stores in Seattle. So
it's the Houston equivalent of the Stranger. So it's sort of a hip, more they do some actual journalism, but most of it's like music reviews and movies and arts and restaurants and sort of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the Houston version I picked up. I was desperately trying to come up with an idea where we go for this anniversary and do something different. And I picked up dumb paper and I'm looking at it. It's like, oh, haunted places, and it's this one haunted motel. They're in a little town called Schulenburg, which is in the hill country, towards San Antonio. And I don't think I had ever been there at that point, or if I had, I'd just driven through. There's interstate runs by there. But there was this haunted motel, and of course there was the same old story you get with all haunted motels. Somebody had lost, maid had killed himself or thrown himself out a window because their true love had abandoned them.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it was a guy. I think a guy had gotten murdered by somebody, and he haunted the 3rd floor. And you went up to the 3rd floor, well, you would be, you would hear things in the night. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be cool. So, of course, I don't have a credit card, and it never occurred to me, like, okay, it's an old motel in Schulenburg, Texas. How many people are going to show up to this thing? So I drive us all the way out there and go in the front door, and of course she's on board with it. She's like, okay, something different. And we go in, and after about 10 minutes, we're just about ready to leave, and I'd rang the bell several times. Old guy finally comes strolling out. I'm about to say something about, hey, we were interested in getting room on the 3rd floor, and he cuts me off. He goes, are you here with the mariachi band? And I'm like, I'm as white as it gets, and I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, like what?
I don't think I'm with the mariachi band. Should I be? And he's like, Well, if you want a room, you should be, because we're all booked up. They had 25 rooms in this motel. Every one of them was booked up by a mariachi band that was playing in town that night. So I didn't get to stay. So I missed out on that one. Took our 0-2. So on our way up here, we stopped. We were coming out of Vegas, and we went through Goldfield, which has apparently ghost hunters always go to Goldfield because there's an old motel there. We didn't know it at the time. It had been closed for years.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, everybody goes to that one. We didn't even know what it was. We stopped there briefly, and but we headed on to this next town up the road to stay in a place called Tonopah. Now, we knew we couldn't get to the border that night. We were too exhausted. You can drive through the desert all day, vehicle with no air conditioning. So,
Exactly.
so yeah.
I've been to Tonopah. It's up in the mountains.
Oh, yeah. It's out the, so we were just like, no. So, but we pull into town, and there are two places to stay, and Paula picked out the one I would not have picked out necessarily, the Clown Motel, which is gotten its own set of, it's the Clown Motel. Well, it's right next door to a pioneer cemetery. So in addition to having creepy clowns all over the place, there's a pioneer cemetery where half the people that buried there had died in a mine fire, and the other half had died of the plague that swept through town at the turn of the 20th century. So yeah, fun stuff. And again, nothing, no ghosts, no nothing, not a zero zilch. But I've stayed in enough places to have them. I guess I'm just, they don't like me. Maybe it's Texans seem to have rubbed people the wrong way in this part of the world or anywhere north of Texas. So, so I'm just going to go with that and go. They were judging me based on where I was from, not content of my character. So, the heck with the ghost. But
that's what I was thinking when I popped up. Gosh, the Steve Martin one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paula just asked if anyone could picture you in a mariachi band. I said, actually, yes, but only with these guys.
I love you. Like, because I'm whiter than white, and I thought of these guys.
Oh my God! Not the three amigos. Yes, that would be and I would definitely be the Chevy Chase version. So, yeah. No, I mean, I've been around enough haunted places. They just, like I said, it just has never worked out for me. I mean, I hear stuff around here all the time, but I don't think that the property is necessarily haunted. I think I just live in a creaky cabin. So
that's funny.
I wish I had more excitement. Now, I would love, Rosella's been to where I would like to have gone and go experience it. Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fascinates me. I would be, and I think there's enough ghosts there. So one of them's bound to pick me out and go, "Hey, you."
Well, it's funny because we're going to this thing in this Franklin, Tennessee, for the rest of the weekend, and we're already joking about okay, so we're bringing Misty's car. We're not bringing my car now because I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Franklin, there's quite a few that it was one of the nastier ones. In a war full of nasty battles, Franklin was one of the worst. So
they have their own graveyard at this what is it, Carlton or something?
Mm-hmm.
Pralin Plantation, I think. So it looks pretty gruesome.
If you see a cave down in Franklin, can you run in there and bring Kayla back a pet? She really wants one of those rakes.
Oh, another very...
She's wanted one of those rakes for years.
I do. I think they're awesome.
Well, I know another very famous haunted place. It's called the Suicide Forest. Hey, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to name shit like that, you name it by what it actually called.
I can't pronounce it.
Oh.
August
That's in Japan.
Aokigahara.
Ayokigahara. It is.
It is the blue tree meadow, also known as the Jukai or Sea of Trees.
Yes, and there's up to 105 bodies found each year. It actually isn't the biggest suicide forest. It is known as the second biggest suicide forest, and these forests are mainly found in Japan, because I guess Japan has the biggest suicide rate.
No, it has the biggest.
Why?
It's not the biggest suicide rate. It's the biggest area. Like they all go to this area to do it, to the point where they have actually put signs up at the beginning listing the suicide hotline and telling them to think about their families and everything.
Yeah.
But the stupid part is, these forests didn't start out that way.
Yeah.
They are graveyards.
And there are many, like, when people go in there, like YouTubers or other people, there are a ton of reportings of hauntings, of like hearing voices or hearing crying or a ton of other stuff, and they say that other spirits lurk there, famous Japanese spirits that incite wanting to kill yourself. I don't actually know what the spirits are called because it doesn't say here.
I heard it's
what the spirits are called?
Yeah.
Yuri.
And about every half mile, they say there's usually a ribbon on a tree. That means there is someone killed themselves near there.
Okay, so the thing is, it didn't start out that way. In the 19th century, they were sites of ubasute. It's considered a mythical practice of senicide, where you take an infirm or elderly relative to a mountain or some other remote, desolate place, and you leave them there to die.
And many people have said that compasses do not work here.
Don't act so surprised, Rosella. Have you never heard, let's take them out to the back 40? Like, we do it here too.
And the most common way people kill themselves in this forest is hanging, but it isn't the only way. There is also people who kill themselves using guns, pills, and suffocation. And it also says this forest is so dense it's very easy to get lost in.
Yeah.
The only reason why it's kind of easy to get out is because there's so many ribbons that lead to the trail of people, just because that's just in case they want to go back.
Well, and they do, once a year, they go in there and collect the bodies.
And they say they miss around 25% of the bodies every year.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that some of them are never
say what
found.
Kind of trees they are.
Because the scientific part.
What kind of trees are they? They're not really trees per se. It's a plant.
Okay, the forest has a variety of conifers and broadleaf trees and shrubs, including cypress,
and
suji.
I can't think.
Japanese cedar or Japanese redwood,
and the local government,
Japanese pine,
of this have stopped publishing suicide numbers because they're trying to stop visitors from coming here and
Japanese white pine
doing this.
You mean
Japanese hemlock?
There's also a forest
and
of
the name of the actual place is, if you translate it, it's known as the Sea of Trees.
Nikki, what were you saying?
And it has countless natural frozen caves.
There's a name of a bamboo. Thank you. There's a bamboo forest like that is very well known for suicides in Japan. I can't remember the name of it, and it's real similar to what you're talking about.
And they also say this forest is naturally quiet, like it has no sound in it.
It has no sound.
but it is very
Yeah, birds,
populated
no-
by
no
butterflies and bats.
Well,
And advanced
I don't know, I
hikers
watched a
are
documentary on
advised
it,
to
and
stick to the trail.
they said that they think it's actually scientific why there is no sound and that people are driven to do that. They think that it's like a chemical in the air emitted by the trees.
Yeah.
Well, like it has every type of freaking tree you can think of. Like there is literally there's cherry trees, there's freaking maples, there's
And they
Andromedas.
and they say there is a frequent herd of scavenger birds that visit it, knowing that there's human
There's a
corpses.
story about the
That makes
tick-ticks,
sense.
too. They're the spirits of the trees that live in the trees in Japan. And they supposedly lure people.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, but supposedly every half mile on the trail there are signs of anti-suicide warnings. And there's countless times that suicide hotlines are posted and all that.
Oh, yeah.
The area has been falsely portrayed as a place where navigational compasses go haywire. Because if you set the compass directly on the ground, it will align with the rock's natural magnetism because the entire area is built on a lava bed from
Which
Mount
is what I was
Fiji.
going to ask.
Yeah, like so it is actually a lava flow from Mount Fiji.
I think that was like a part of it like that and some kind of blend of the trees. They thought that that's why people were doing it. It was a chemical reaction.
Yeah, and the reason why this forest is so popular today is because the famous YouTuber Logan Paul did a video where he found a body and showed it on camera, but it was blurred.
Yeah.
And this is why it got so popular back in 2017.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Is he the one fighting Tyson?
Yes. Logan
Good.
Paul.
I hope Tyson kicks the shit out.
No, that was not no. That's the other brother.
That's the other brother?
Logan's the one that's in WWE at the moment. Jake, one that's
Jake
fighting.
Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Logan,
Yeah.
yeah. The only reason I know that
Isn't Logan Paul allowed to, like, tap in?
he's like, what?
Isn't Logan Paul allowed to tap in during the fight?
I really freaking hope so.
It was, yeah. He was going to. Now they've challenged each other to fight, so
Yeah.
I knows. But all I know is I remember him because he's the dupe. Well, they're both doopy looking, but he's the doopier looking one, and he's somehow he's managed to turn himself. I watched him wrestle. He's really good at it. I'll give him credit. Well, they're both pretty good at They went from making dumb videos kids watch to now where they make money pretending to be athletes, which is bizarre.
And they say the forest is actually a mystical site, mythological, and it has a lot of mythological lore with Mount Fuji.
Yeah. It's had a whole bunch of movies and shows based off of it. It's been referenced to several media, including anime, manga, literature, music, video games, and films. So,
And there's also a very famous frozen ice cave that is populated by famous cave bats. And the ice cave stays frozen year round. And the temperature is usually 37.4 degrees Fahrenheit all year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's a very popular tourist spot, but
Yeah, you won't see me there.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah.
I'm excellent without that. Thanks.
Oh, and they say
Well, okay, I would, if I ever went to Japan, I would probably go to the trailhead to leave flowers. That I would do. I wouldn't go in, because I feel that place is now sacred.
Yeah, I would not want to do that.
I don't think I would even go near it. I think I would just be hanging around in the conventions that are always going on there in Japan.
I gotta be honest, I'd be
You'd
too
be stuck in
afraid that
Tokyo.
there
Yeah.
was something that calls you into the forest, to go near the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I seem to be stupidly susceptible to that kind
Yeah,
of shit.
I don't
So-
think I would be, because
Yeah.
I like, frick, you tell me to do things all the time and I don't listen. What makes you think I'm going to listen to a bunch of trees?
Yeah. My mind tells me to do horrible things. I've already...
That's just a man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have a problem not listening to them.
If I can suppress my dark thoughts inside my head, no trees are going to convince me.
You can't. We've seen this.
No, I do. I just tell you what they are, and I still don't do
That's
it.
not suppressing them.
It kind of is.
No.
I'm letting them out in a way. Like, I honestly have a question. Because anytime I hold, like, a cat or a dog, I always get this, like, urge.
You don't want to ask this question.
Oh my God.
You really don't.
But I want to see if anyone else, like, gets this.
He's going to get canceled, people.
I already am. But whenever you hold, like, a small, like, animal, like a rabbit or a goose or anything that you know you could easily crush, like, its tiny little skull with with your hands, do you ever get the, like, urge to do that? Or is that me?
No, that's a you thing.
What the heck?
You
Okay.
and Siri.
No, that's just you.
Because, like, anytime I pick up my cat, that's just the first thing that comes to mind.
Keep the cat away.
And Gary.
And then you wonder why it ran away. Jesus.
I don't actually do it. I
Well,
think.
duh.
We don't wonder why the cat ran now.
Animals can be telepathic.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, to be fair, when I held you as a baby, yeah, I had that thought.
yeah.
But that's only because I was thinking, what if he's the next Hitler? Friend.
Should have taken me out as a baby.
Yeah, you're just proving me right
I know.
Like,
If you saw Hitler as a child, would you kill him?
No.
no, he was
No.
an innocent then.
I mean, well, you'd have to know he was going to kill other people.
Yeah, like if you went back in time
You need
and you
to
saw
have-
baby Hitler just in a stroller,
Absolutely
left alone.
not.
You can't.
Why?
Because it would create
Because
a
you would
paradox.
ruin the
Oh, yeah.
timeline.
Because if Hitler was never actually did all that, you wouldn't go back in time to curve stomp him.
You create some kind of paradox. Isn't that called a grandfather paradox?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
whenever they explain the grandfather paradox, they always equate it to killing your own grandfather, but that's not really what it equates to, because you can't, like, killing someone as historically important
As
Hitler
Yeah.
would affect your own timeline.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
I've always looked at it this way. There are, I believe, fixed points in time that no matter what you do, you can't change what happened at that point. Okay, so like horrible catastrophes, so like
9/11.
9/11 or the Titanic, or okay, no matter how many times you go back, no matter how many times you try to change it, you're never going to be able to fix the outcome.
There
of
is
that.
one thing I do want to change about the Titanic, though. Rose could have moved her ass over and fit both of them on that damn door. I'm just saying. She could have pulled him up. They could have evenly
That's
distributed
just a
the
movie,
weight.
dude. Just a
We've
movie.
I
already
don't
had this
care.
argument.
You could have fit
Yeah,
two
just a
people on
movie.
that door.
But
John,
They
stop.
put it on Mythbusters that they could have, she could have, yeah, they could have both been on there.
Yeah.
did you guys know that?
If you kill a historical figure, you will not only change that, but if you
Yeah. So you can't,
make a change. Okay, so for example, like the Titanic, you can change all the dynamics around it, but it still happens. All those
Yeah.
other things get majorly changed and screw with people's lives.
so you can't
So
take
I
me.
if the
put this-
main event still takes place,
So you
however,
can't take me
all
out,
the
or
little
the whole world
things
will change.
around it that aren't so little also shift and change.
People are
Well,
meant
like,
to
it's a lot
die
of
when
movies
people
about that.
die.
Well,
Okay,
if-
so if you think about like Final Destination type shit, okay, that's a terrible way to put it,
I know.
but people are meant to die when they're meant to die.
Yeah.
So if you
Survival
do
of the
not
fittest.
let the progression of that life end where it is supposed to end, then it will catastrophically fuck with everything around it.
Yeah.
well,
It's the
okay,
whole
so-
butterfly effect.
Exactly. Assume there was 1,300 some odd people died on the Titanic. Let's assume they all survived. The ship misses the iceberg. Everything goes according to plan. Now, who's to say that one of those 1,300, one of the young ones, we'll say one of the kids that drowned, or doesn't go on to cause a cataclysm worse than anything Hitler or Stalin or any of them combined could have done? They
Now,
could have
see-
blown up the planet.
Well, I was thinking about the world population would be more. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because
But-
it would create thousands of more families.
Well, if
Thousands more mouths to feed.
Okay, so this
More
is
jobs
terrible,
taken up.
and again, that's going to sound all stupid and
Less
terrible.
house to look up on Zillow.
But the world itself has a way of population control. Okay, there's no other way to put that. Okay? We have cataclysms that happen ever so often that take out a certain
Yeah.
percentage of the world population. And if none of those cataclysms had ever happened, like, think about the state the world's in now with our, like, 8 billion people. Okay, can you imagine that being doubled?
Yeah.
well, apparently there's some somebody's put a paper out, or there's been some research done that showed that this Khan, that he single-handedly, or was it Attila the Hun, one of the two, actually affected climate change on their own by the amount of people that they took out
Mm-hmm.
at the time. So that's impressive, I guess, in a very terrible, awful way.
I'm just going to say, though, with what Kayla said, friend, the Titanic now makes me feel kind of fucking stupid as humanity. Because all Earth had to do was look, Ice Cube, done. Friend. Like, fuck!
Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's so many things that dumb boat that, I mean, they switched out the first officers at the last minute because White Star is going to White Star, and so the guy that was supposed to be on there had kept, because he'd been doing all the sea trials and everything else. He had the keys, the set of keys with him that had the
The room with
crow's nest
binoculars in it.
with the binoculars, so they couldn't get to the binoculars.
Yeah.
And they weren't about to break into it for the binoculars because everything, if they had a button that got knocked off their uniform, they'd get charged by the company for them because they were renting their own uniforms. So they weren't about to go, like, breaking open the binocular box because they had to set them back a year's worth of pay. So, no. I mean, it's just dumb things like that. You're going too fast, you know. Like I said, Titanic is the kind of stupid that happens to get to that point. And it out of it.
Dude, now it's becoming a yearly thing. You know, we got another billionaire going down there in a sub.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
Yep.
guess what? He bought the sub from the same company that built the first one.
Yes, my husband told me about it. I'm like, oh my god.
You know, he better bring us
So
spare set of, like, batteries for when
I
his
am
controller
going to
disconnects.
say something though on that whole like cataclysm line, okay? But the same thing happens in reverse as well. So every person that somebody does save also changes the course of. Okay, do you
Yes.
understand what I'm
Yes.
saying? So
With me just
it
interacting
evens
with your
its-
life, the whole
that's
world
terrible,
changes.
but it does even in that way that somebody that may have supposed to have died in this like fire, this fireman runs in and saves X person, so therefore they go on to discover a cure for this, or their kids or kids, whatever will.
Yeah. With me just interacting with you all, your lives have majorly changed in a positive way.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like, from all these movies, like Back to the Future being the numbers, like, number one easy one. Like, you can, if you alter, time. Like, people always, like, how many times we get asked for the freaking lottery numbers?
Yeah.
So we're not meant to even know them. I know, right? not meant to know them or anything like that, because it's just like, you can't alter time.
Or if you go with the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they don't do the whole grandfather, or you don't have the paradox thing, because when you go back in time,
It's to a different universe.
you start a different timeline.
Yeah.
It depends if you go with the MCU version or the comic book version.
Yeah, because there is that out in the world too, where every action caused a whole new universe to spring from that action. Every choice you make, it's like the infinite probability theory, where anything that can happen has happened and will happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like if you put infinite amount of monkeys on a typewriter, they're eventually going to write Shakespeare.
Yes. Yeah, it's that type of a thing.
Yeah.
Or eventually it will.
Or like Schrodinger's box.
Schrodinger's cat?
Or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I was going to say cat.
Oh, man, box.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
damn.
interesting.
Well,
It's already 12:01.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Had an Alice in Chains moment.
So she just figured out why she's been on edge all day today, and actually everyone on our panel, except for a few of us, have kind of had crappy days. Or a crappy day today. Today was the 30th anniversary of the murder of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman. That event led to the VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, and huge leaps in understanding domestic violence. And though we still have a long way to go, we have much better laws and stuff today. So, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Friend, that we are
improving as a society.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking, my husband was just talking about them yesterday. So, really crazy.
Oh, what are we going to be talking about next week?
Crunk, no. Friend.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, we will figure that out, and we will get back to everyone next week. For tonight, that is it, everyone. Thank you for listening to us. Panel, thank you for being with us. As always, joining us tonight was Nikki Jacobs, Rick Pursley, Rosella C. Rowe, and Robert White. And then in the studio, we have Kayla, John, and me.
The almighty John.
What?
And
we had a brief appearance by Moose.
Yeah.
The cat. Friend.
Our Lord and Savior.
He's finally...
and I've got a ghost in here.
Yeah,
Crush the cat.
I've got weird things going on in my house.
Some random stalker in Nikki's house.
Yeah.
I got a
random
ghost waiting
dude
to talk to me after the show.
Friend. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to us all the time. Sorry we missed last week. Our son Jalen graduated. We are so proud of him.
Yeah.
And only 3 more to go, and then we're free. Yay.
You'll never be free.
Shut up.
I'll be here till I'm 32.
Oh,
You're
God.
moving into grandma's. We already talked about this. Friend. So, alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening again. And we will see you next week, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday night, with S-4 Paranormal Bunker. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Coach.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.